Hello and welcome back to my channel, Cards by Melissa Minor. I am so excited to make this video today. I was recently really inspired by a card class that I attended by creative designer Lisa Stentz. And so I have adapted her card and made my own version, and that's where this video is coming from today. So let me go ahead and just dive in and get started with everything we're going to need today. So you'll see on my desk in front of me, I have lots of items. It looks a little intimidating, but it's really not that many things. So let's go ahead and go through what we need. We're going to need some fairy lights. And so these are pretty inexpensive. I got these on Amazon. And I ordered a 20 pack, and I ended up getting the warm white. The cool I don't think works very well for the cards. I just don't like the color of it. So I would recommend the warm white. I also ordered the fairy lights in blue, and at the end of the video I will show you a card that I made using the blue lights. And so these are the fairy lights. And actually the first thing we're going to do is we are going to pull out the little pull tab. And then we are going to unwind our lights, and then we're just going to stretch it out. So I'm going to set this big box to the side because we don't need the whole box. We just need one. And then you're going to need some embossing powder. Now I got this on sale, looks like $1. This is the Ranger Blue Neon. I tried a few different colors, but for my card today, I really liked the blue neon. And then the paper pack that I'm using today is from the Stamps of Life, and it is the Christmas Fun collection. And then I also have the coordinating dies that go with this paper pad, and these are called the Christmas add-ons. And so this is the stamp, and then the dies that go with it. And then for my sentiment today for my card, I've chose to use phrases for Christmas. And I really like this phrase, and I think it's going to go nice with our light up card. May your Christmas be merry and your new year be bright. I love that. And then you're going to need some Scotch tape. And you're going to need some dies. Now I chose to use the rectangle layering dies. And the rectangles that I'm using out of here are the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, the 4th and the 5th layering die. So the 4th largest and the 5th largest layering dies. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep those out. And then you're going to need a card base. So I have a standard A2 card base. And then you're going to need a piece of cardstock. Now I've chose to use the color of cherry. It coordinates in the paper pack. And this is cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then you're going to use a piece out of the pattern paper pack, whichever one that you chose. I chose this one that has the polka dots on it. And this is cut to 4 by 5 1/4. And then I've used the dies out of the paper pack and cut out a little tree. And then you're going to need some vellum. And I recommend either 3 or 4 sheets of vellum, depending on how thick your vellum is. And the vellum sheets are cut to 4 1/2 by 3 1/2. And then you'll see these 2 little strips here. Now these are actually adhesive sheets. And so these are 1 7/8 by just 7/8. And so you'll need 2 of these. So your adhesive sheets, these are sticky on both sides. You'll need 2 of those. Okay, so now that we've went through everything that we need to make the card, let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our fairy lights and let's turn them on to make sure they work. Okay, great. And then you see this little wire that's right here? We are going to pull it alongside of the pack, and we're just going to take some Scotch tape and we're just going to tape that down. So we just want to hold that tight and tape that down. So away from the switch. So let me get a little piece out. Okay, so just like that. That way it's away from our switch. There we go. And then next, these adhesive sheets are going to go right on top of this little light switch. So you're probably going to need a poker tool to get the adhesive off. I know I do. Okay, we're just peeling the sticky off of one side. And we're just going to put that adhesive sheet down onto our light switch. And then we're going to flip it over and do the same thing, repeat the process, and we're just going to stick that down. Give it a good press so that that's nice and adhered. Okay, we can set the fairy lights to the side and move on to the next step. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our cards or our pattern paper sheet, and this was the piece that was cut to 4 by 5 1/4. Now you'll see mine has a little notch cut in the side of it, and this little notch, if you lay it down, that is about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 of an inch up. Can you see that? And that's just so that way when we add the lights behind it, you'll be able to use your finger to get in there to turn them on and off. And so there's a couple ways that you can do that. You can just take your scissors and go in a little ways and cut up a little notch, just 1/4 of an inch right here. Or you can use the design space file that is included in the description box below, and it will just cut the notch out of your paper. All right, so once we have that, we're going to take our layering dies, and we're going to take our smallest layering die, and we're going to place it down on our paper. And I'm going to use a little washi tape so that it doesn't move. And I'm just going to run this through my die cut machine to cut a little hole there. All right, and so I'm just going to remove that. And so now I have a hole in the middle of my sheet. And then this piece right here, this is just scrap. I can save that for another project. One other sheet that I failed to mention in the beginning is you're going to need another scrap of the cherry cardstock. And we are going to create a little frame to go around this window. So you're just going to need it big enough so that your largest rectangle die and then your smallest ones here, the ones we got out, you're just going to lay them down one inside the other. And we're going to add here a little bit of washi here. Once we center them up the best we can. And we're going to run this through our die cut machine, and we're creating a little frame. So let me run this through my die cut machine. All right, let's see what we've got. So let me remove the washi. And remove my dies, and I've got 2 pieces here. The center piece I don't need, I can save that for another project. And I just want this little frame. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some glue and I'm going to adhere this little frame right to my card panel. All right, we have our panel ready, so I can set this to the side. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to work on our sentiment. So I like to use this Versamark ink whenever I am doing my heat embossing. And I've already done some heat embossing off camera. So let me show you how I came to the conclusion of using the blue neon. The sentiment we're using, again, is from the Phrases for Christmas, and I like this, "May your Christmas be merry and your new year be bright." So I went ahead and stamped this a couple times. Now you'll have to be very careful and you'll have to move your heat tool back and forth, because if you don't, then you will burn your paper. And you can see that's what I've done on this green one. I've actually melted the paper. So I was looking, and this is okay. I mean, pretend the burn mark's not there. I was just testing it out, and that's okay, but I didn't think the green was really the right color of green. So I don't really like that one. And I like the pink, and I think the pink looks very nice. But with this candy, or excuse me, I keep calling it candy, the cherry background, I didn't really like that one. And so I liked this blue neon. Let me put this one back here. I think that one is it. And then the little tree that I've already die cut, it has like a little bitty blue neon right here. So I think that that's going to be perfect. Okay, so we're going to take, so once you go ahead and emboss your panel, now I did mine on a scrap, but you're going to emboss yours on your vellum sheet that was 4.5 by 3.5. And like I said, you might need a few layers. So we're going to flip this over, and I'm going to add some glue just to the edges of my frame here. And then I'm going to put my sentiment in the center. So let me try to line this up. I'm going to give it a good press. And then once that's good and adhered down, then we're going to go ahead and start gluing on the additional layers of vellum. Now you want to be careful that no glue seeps into the center here, because that glue will show through on your card. So this is what it looks like from the front. I think that's gorgeous. All right, so we're going to adhere the next layer of vellum. This one I can go a little bit further out. And I don't have to really center this or anything. I'm just making sure that the window is covered. Give it a good press. And then I'm going to add another layer right on top of that one. And then I'm going to go ahead and add one more layer. Now, depending on the thickness of your vellum, you could use 3 or maybe even 4. I have 4 sheets of vellum here. And it's just however is to your liking. Okay, let me clean some of this up and I'll be right back. All right, let's go ahead and add our 4 1/4 by 5.5 sheet of cherry cardstock to our card base, and we'll just get that done. I didn't ink the edges or anything. You could have, but not very much of this is even going to show. This is just our base. Okay, so I have that ready. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add this tree right to the front. Now this I got from the paper pad. There we go. And now we're ready to go ahead and add our lights and start building our layers with the foam tape. So we're going to flip this over, and the first thing we're going to do is we are going to make sure that our lights have the wire that we tape. The wire is going to be facing, the flat side's going to be down, and we're going to make sure that this is adhered right to that little notch that we cut out. And so we don't want it all the way to the edge of the card. Let me hold this up to show you. But we do want that little notch peeking through, and you can see we don't want it to show like that. We just want that little notch to peek through. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and peel back one layer of our adhesive sheets on here. Okay, so we got that peeled up. And we're going to go ahead and adhere this down right to the edge like so. We're going to give it a good press and hold it. And then these lights are going to end up pooling in the middle. We're going to add some layers of foam tape. So let's take a look and see what it looks like. Let's switch it on. Oh yeah, that's going to look really nice back there. So let me turn it off. I'm going to move the lights to the side. You're going to go through a lot of foam tape here. And I recommend using a good foam tape. One that you like to work with. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start building our layers of foam tape. So I don't like to go all the way to the edge. I like to come in just a little bit. And we're gonna end up making a little well for our lights. And so we're gonna go around the card with our tape. And we're gonna do this, we're gonna continue to repeat this process 3 or 4 times. So when you get to this side, I like to cut at an angle. You can just snip it at a diagonal. And then these are going to end up going right inside there. So we want to build the layers to the same layer, to the same thickness as our light. So I'm going to go ahead and peel back this first layer. And I'm going to add another layer on this side. And then I'm going to peel back this one. And I'm just going to repeat this process until I'm happy with the thickness. Sometimes I think it's harder just to peel the foam tape, right? I have more trouble peeling foam tape than anything. Okay, so this one, I like to cut at that angle. Okay, so I have 2 layers on, and I'm going to go ahead and continue building these off camera. Okay, I have mine 4 layers high, and then what you're going to do is you're just going to spread your lights out, and we're going to flip this over and just turn it on to see how we're liking it. Let me turn off one of my lights here. And just see how you're liking that. Oh, that is so good. I love that. Okay. So the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to adhere this to the card. So we're just going to peel back our layers of foam tape all the way around. Then we're going to take the adhesive back off of our light Let's remove that adhesive strip there. And then we're just going to lay this down on our card front. It's sticky. You're just going to center this up the best that you can. And you're going to give it a good press. All right, let's turn off the lights again. A couple of my lights. And we'll do the switch. Isn't that awesome? Now you could decorate this however you'd like. Let me bring in an example of another one that I have made. Now this other one that I've made, this one uses some blue lights. So let me turn on this one so you can see the difference. So this one uses the blue lights. And you can just see, I love that blue shining through there. So I will leave a link down below in the description box to both of the lights that I purchased on Amazon, both the warm lights and then also the blue. And then the last thing that we need for these is we need some way to mail them in, right? Or to give them as a gift. These really, I don't think will make it through the mail. I mean, they're really thick. And they're fragile, you know, with the lights in there, but you still could hand these out. So in the description box in the design space file, there is a link to a card box as well, and you can cut this and score this on your Cricut. So let me just show you how this fits nicely in this box. But I do want to decorate the box just a little bit. So I've cut a couple strips already. So let me bring them in. And to dress our envelope box up, the first one that I've cut is a strip 2 by 4 1/4. And I'm just going to glue that to the edge of this card base right here, or to the box. Now this is a little bit trickier because I've already glued the box together. I do want to mention that when you glue the box together, the only place you have to put glue is just right here. Okay, so I have this first panel on, and then the next strip that I want to do is 1 by 4, and then I've just dovetailed it. These are again from that Christmas Fun collection paper pad. So let me add this one over to the edge here. And then I've cut a piece of glitter paper from my stash. This one I cut to this one I cut to 1/2 by 3 3/4. And we'll just layer that right between the two, just to dress this envelope up a little bit. And then I've cut out a couple of the presents from that paper pad. Let me bring in this paper pad here and show you what I'm talking about. So I've used a lot of this already. Let me flip through here and show you the cutting pages if you haven't seen these. Here's one. So you've got the trees and you've got some presents on this one. There is another sheet that is like all presents. Let me look up in the front. Here's another sheet. I've already cut the couple presents out of here, but you can cut presents and stockings. So this is a really fun paper pad to have. I really like all the colors in it. So I've just used a stitch circle die, and I think I want to put that like right here and then put the presents on it. And then, you know, we'll put the card in there, but I think I want to put to and from on there. So I want to bring in that stamp set, the same one that we used for the dies, the Christmas add-on, and it has a to and from on it. And I want to stamp the to and the from. So let me do that. Can you believe that I have all these stamps? I had some dies that said to and from. I didn't have stamps. So I was really excited to get this set because it had the to and the from. Crazy, I know, right? I mean, you must really like the person that gets this card because it's so cute. All right, so, and I said card, but I meant the box. This is just the box. So I'm gonna glue the circle on. Here we go. And then I'm gonna take my presents that I cut out. And I'm gonna glue a couple of these down. Let me hold that down. Okay. Let me add the card in here. Now I can give everything a good press, give it a little stability. Perfect. So now we have this cute little light up card and the box, and then here's another version. These are just so fun. All right, leave me a comment below which one is your favorite. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.